Alright, radio check, loud and clear. Hopefully you guys should be able to hear me. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We've already got 1,200 people tuned in to the live stream, and we are 30 minutes away from the start of qualifying. And so currently up on the screen we've got the free practice 2 timings, the most representative session that we have had all weekend long. Free practice 1, free practice 3, those were held when track temperature was much higher than what we're going to have in quali today. So that's why they're not the most representative sessions, the most representative being FP2. And looking at those times, we can see that Piastri and Norris 1-2, about 4/10 clear of the rest of the field. Pretty big margin there. However, you do have to take into account for Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull all would have made some setup changes overnight to make their car a little bit more well suited to this circuit. Especially they were losing a lot of time in the medium speed and the slow speed corners. So they will have made some setup tweaks for that, and hopefully they will have, closed up the gap to the McLaren team. That's the plan, that's the hope. iPhone game where it says practice 2. I don't know where it says practice 2, because right now on my screen it says quali, and right now on my thumbnail also says quali, so I don't know where it says practice 2. But anyway, so we got the simulation data that came through. It suggested that McLaren were the fastest with 4/10 of a gap to the other 3 teams. The other 3 teams all within half a tenth of each other, so they were all very, very close. And McLaren do have the advantage. I held a little poll here. It says practice 2 above track clear. That's the data. We don't have the qualifying data yet. The qualifying data will come through in about 12 minutes time. What was I talking about? I was talking about the gap between the McLarens and everyone else. So that gap most likely will close up. While we were doing the FP3 runs, I was looking at the top speeds, and Red Bull had not turned up their engine. Mercedes did turn up their engine in FP3. I don't think they'd turn it up in FP2, and the same can be said for the Ferraris. And McLaren, I think they're just running a little bit more downforce, to be honest, because they have such a huge advantage in the medium speed and the slow speed. It seems unlikely that they have that purely based off the fact that they have a better car. I think they're also just running more downforce, so they're slower down the straights. So it'll be interesting to compare the top speeds of the drivers as they go through the speed trap. Okay, Ferrari still using this year's cars experiments for 2026. They might be. But 2026 is a very big regulation change, so there isn't much that you can test on this year's car that would be helpful to know for next year. And asked earlier, dude, F1 Gamer, do you ever cover Formula E? Cheers. No, unfortunately, no Formula E coverage from me. I think it's purely just because there aren't that many people that are interested in Formula E. Of course, there are people that are interested, but compared to Formula 1, I would say probably 10 times, maybe 20 times less people interested in it. So, I stick to Formula 1. Okay, we'll run through the upgrades that the teams have brought. Ferrari, the only team really that have brought big upgrades, and then a couple of other teams have brought some small upgrades here and there. The McLaren rear wing is still allowed by the FAA rules. It will not be totally banned until the Spanish Grand Prix, so I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But essentially the rules for 2024 allowed the flexible rear wings, and then the FAA were like, right, well, we're not allowing these flexible rear wings, so it's just a little bit stupid. They're going against the sort of spirit of the regulations, essentially. And so what McLaren did, they were like, okay, so we're going to make our wings less flexible, but they'll still flex. And the FAA were like, no, thank you. And then they brought the rules forward that were meant to change in the Spanish Grand Prix. They brought them forward to the Chinese Grand Prix. So the wing flex, if you compare the wing flex from the Australian Grand Prix to the Chinese Grand Prix, it got reduced a lot. And then once you compare the Chinese Grand Prix to the Spanish Grand Prix, which will be in a couple of races' time, that will be basically no wing flex whatsoever. So we've got to wait till then for the McLaren rear wing to be fixed. But apart from that, they should be good. Okay. Yeah, what else have we got going on? We had some issues for Kimi Antonelli. He had a water pump leak in free practice 1, but Mercedes went and fixed that issue. It was a little bit of a long repair job, really, for Kimi Antonelli, but he managed to get out in and not lose too much time. And then we also had, what else do we have? Oh yeah, Fernando Alonso had his steering wheel disconnect. It was quite strange, to be honest. He was driving along, and then I think just before turn number 13, so the final corner, or just before turn number 14, the final corner of the circuit, he was modifying some steering wheel settings on his steering wheel, and then the steering wheel just came off. And they told him to come into the pits to replace the steering wheel. I don't know if they said that before or after his steering wheel came off, but nonetheless, Alonso's steering wheel just came off, which was very strange. F1 Gamer, who do you think will get pole? My bet is on Oscar Piastri. That's who I think is going to be. A bit of a safe bet, a bit of a boring bet, considering I'm betting on a McLaren, but I think Piastri has a chance. Talk about the V10s, the 2026 versus 2030. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so we had an engine. There was a conversation between all of the team principals and the teams and the FIA yesterday. Between free practice 1 and free practice 2, they had a discussion about what the engines were going to be for next year. There were 3 teams that were very happy to continue on with the current plan. Right now, 45% of in Formula 1 as of this year, 85% of the power is generated by internal combustion engine, 15% of the power is generated via an electric motor. What they're planning to do for 2026 is have 55% of the horsepower generated by the internal combustion engine and 45% of the horsepower generated by the electric motor. So that's what their plan was. And Mercedes, Honda, and I think one other engine manufacturer was like, right, I think that's a good idea. We're going to continue on with this. However, so other teams were saying, oh no, we can't do this. We don't want to do this. We want to bring back the V10s. We want to change everything up. And that was Red Bull, I think Ferrari, and one other engine manufacturer, which I forgot, might have been Alpine. But they were like, right, we want to change to the V10s. We want to totally reset these engine regulations. And I think part of the reason that was happening was because I think Red Bull powertrains and Ferrari probably haven't got the best engine according to what they think the other teams have, and they personally would want all of the regulations to change for the engines next year, so everyone has to start from scratch again, and they have a better chance of being closer to the field. So that was the sort of chat that happened. We're not going to be having V10s, unfortunately, because the thing is, they were looking at a 3-litre V10, and a 3-litre V10 sounds fantastic in theory, but with the fuel flow limits that they have right now, because a 3-litre V10 is a lot more fuel hungry than the 1.6-litre V6 turbos that we have. So you'd have to carry extra fuel for the race, or you'd have to bring in refueling. They're not bringing refueling back, so that means the cars are going to be even heavier because they have to carry even more fuel, and it just becomes this whole thing where the cars get heavier, and well, the FIA don't want to do that. So the V10s were just a bit of a bad distraction. That is true. But then also they ended up having a serious discussion as well. They had a serious discussion about it, but ended up not working out because they would need way too much fuel and the cars would be way too heavy. And essentially that's what it was. All right. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so let's have a V10 doesn't have to carry the battery. Well, that is the thing. The V10 doesn't have to carry the battery, but then none of the engine manufacturers want to do that. Ideally, Mercedes are pivoting towards bringing a lot of electric cars to the market. So are Audi, so are Aston Martin, and well, if they want to bring electric cars to market, you might as well use your research and development time in Formula One to design better electric motors and things like that. So they're not particularly going to be doing that. Yeah, okay. But we'll move on from the engine conversation, and we'll start talking about something different. We'll talk about Yuki Tsunoda. Why not? So he's currently didn't have the best FP2, didn't have the best FP3 either. Couldn't really hook a lap up together without making a small little mistake here or a small little mistake there. And that's the thing really with the Red Bull. It's not the most predictable car, and when you are a new driver to that team, then it becomes very difficult to sort of, well, get a feel for what the car is going to do. You know, you have to have that confidence of, so let's imagine, right? So Yuki Tsunoda is driving around the circuit, and he has to know that when he's going into turn number 4, he's going to press the brakes for around 70 meters. He's going to downshift 3 gears. He's going to turn the steering wheel ever so, a certain number of degrees, and he has to have that confidence before he turns in that the car is going to stick. The car's not going to slide out from underneath him. He has to have a general idea of what the car is going to do. And if the car's a little bit unpredictable, a little bit twitchy, prone to locking up, prone to losing grip randomly, then that's not going to happen, and he's not going to be able to build up that confidence and not be able to go quicker. So we'll see how Tsunoda fares. I think this is his best shot of getting close to Verstappen. He knows the circuit very well. In fact, at his first race in Formula One, Yuki Tsunoda in 2021 scored points in Bahrain, got 9th place with AlphaTauri. So he'll have a he does pretty well around here, and I think he'll have a good shot. Okay. We'll see how Kimi Antonelli can do. Antonelli has also been saying that he's struggling with confidence in the car compared to George Russell. Of course, Russell has been with this Mercedes team, since 2022, and he has been, well, with every single generation of this car, and he's seen it slowly but surely improve. He knows the car inside out. Kimi Antonelli not so much, so he's got to slowly but surely build up that knowledge and that confidence in the car, and then he'll be hopefully on George Russell's pace. But Antonelli has made a brilliant debut, he's kind of been a little bit under the radar because nobody's really been focusing on what's been happening to Antonelli because of the whole fiasco with Liam Lawson. But Antonelli has made some steady progress, and I think this weekend might be his best shot to get close to George Russell and potentially out-qualify him. Yuki Q3 question mark? I think so. When once we get to qualifying time, these mistakes start to creep out the drivers. They have their own way of preparing for qualifying, and they will have their mistakes removed from their laps, and they'll put some good laps together. And yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. All right. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Really does help out the channel. We are on 500 likes currently. If we could make that to 1,000 before qualifying starts, that would be incredible. Okay. Your predictions for the Cadillac drivers. I predict Valtteri Bottas and Herta. Those are my 2 drivers that I am predicting. Yeah. Is Hulkenberg qualifying? I think Hulkenberg will be. He did have an issue in FP3, but I think that issue will have been resolved. Okay, I shall just check if we've got the free practice 3 data coming through. And if we have, then that would be fantastic. Oh, no. Sorry, not the free practice 3, the qualifying data. No, the qualifying data has not come through just yet, so I'll have the qualifying data coming through shortly. All right. What else have we got going on here? I'll take you through a lap of the circuit. I've got an onboard here somewhere recorded. Okay, so let me just move this slightly further up. There we go. Okay, so we'll go for an onboard of the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit. You're blasting down the main straight, and then you reach turn number 1, hit that apex very, very nicely. Onto the power you go, up the hill, over those curbs, because that'll actually gain you some time driving over those curbs. Activate the DRS, over to the left-hand side, drive over the curbs, in fact, brake on the curbs. They have a decent amount of grip around here in Bahrain. Stay well within track limits here. FIA monitoring track limits at turn number 4. You go through turn number 5 and turn number 6, and you try to keep that minimum speed up, really. Turn number 8, downhill braking, easy to lock up, and you want to get onto the power very, very smoothly there, unlike how I just did. Turn number 9 and 10, once again, locking up very, very easy. In fact, we saw George Russell even spin here on the exit of turn number 9, but you get onto the power smoothly. And, well, you're at this point in the lap, your tyres are starting to feel the heat, like they've really overheated through the middle sector. And then as you go through turn number 11 and 12, they're really now reaching their breaking point. You have this final braking zone here, and well, you get a late apex, back onto the power you go, full foot flat to the floor. There's no DRS on this part of the circuit, but you've just got the final corner left to go now. Hit the braking marker at 70 meters and then drive all over the exit curb, because once again, it does not lose you too much time. You cross the DRS line, open that DRS flap, and across the line you go. And that is a lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit. Yeah, pretty nice circuit, and a lot of overtaking opportunities. So yeah, lots to look forward to, really. Okay. Yeah, let me move this timer back down to here. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. And yeah. Okay, 13 minutes now. Let me know what you think is going to happen in today's qualifying session. Will we see any red flags? Will we see any yellow flags? We haven't actually seen a crash all weekend long. We've seen some lockups, we've seen some spins, but apart from that, not a single crash. I mean, there's a lot of runoff around here, so fair enough. But yeah, no crashes, no big spins, nothing like that. So let's see. Do you think Checo and Ricciardo are going to return? Unfortunately, no, I don't think so. It might just be the end of their careers, really. Yeah. Still, no qualifying data. That is very strange. Normally, in fact, here we go. It's coming through very, very shortly. Fantastic. Qualifying data coming through shortly, folks. All right. Give me just a second. I don't think you should write off Red Bull Powertrains just yet. Red Bull Powertrains was first last year to discover the problems with the engine regulations, followed by Ferrari. The Mercs not as ahead as believed. Maybe, yeah, they may have discovered the problems. However, the thing is, they may not have fixed them. So, yeah. All right, the data's just coming through, folks, so give it about 5 seconds and we should have everything up on the screen. There we go, brilliant. Okay, we've got 3,500 people tuned into the stream, and we'll be underway very, very shortly for Q1. Okay, let me get rid of the FP2 timings. We've got the qualifying timings up on the screen, brilliant. Piastri pole, Russell P2, and Yuki out in Q2. That's an interesting prediction, but not so far off. That definitely could have happened at Suzuka. Russell ended up getting a bad lap on his final run in Q3 because he didn't warm his tyres up properly, and Piastri, well, made a mistake in the first sector. If he hadn't done that, he would have been on pole. So, who knows? Who knows what's it going to be? Let's have a look at track temperature. Look at that, 31 degrees. Oh no, wait, what? Yeah, 31 degrees track temperature. I don't know why I said 26. So 31 degrees track temperature, and that's a lot cooler than it was in free practice 3, and in fact 2 degrees cooler than what it was in free practice 2. So track temperature's really dropped down now, and the drivers are finally going to have some grip on the circuit, and yeah, it should be good. Should be good to probably break the lap record around here, and also beat last year's pole time. I think last year's pole time was a 1:29.1. So yeah, they should be able to beat that. Okie dokes. Can't wait for the grass to catch on fire. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have grass catching on fire here in Bahrain. There isn't that much grass to catch on fire, to be honest. At least in Suzuka, it was there was grass on the circuit. Here in Bahrain, it's just sand and dust. Okay. What else have we got to talk about? Well, we can talk about the upgrades, in fact, the upgrades that the teams have brought. So, Ferrari are the team that have brought the biggest upgrade package. They've got a new floor, so they've redesigned the geometry of the floor, of the edge of the floor as well. They've added some little winglets and the diffuser as well. There's a new geometry to that, hoping to maximize the performance out of the car. Then they have, so that's the biggest upgrade package out of everyone. McLaren have a small tweak to their front brake duct, and then Red Bull have a small tweak to their front wing. Haas have some tweaks to their cooling ducts for the for the circuit, because of course, you know, Bahrain, very hot circuit, you want to have a little bit more cooling power, so Haas have got that installed. But apart from that, no other upgrades for any other teams. Mercedes on the exact same package. So Ferrari, the team that have made the biggest step this weekend. It looks like their upgrade package has actually worked, and they've closed that gap up. They were previously maybe, let's say, a tenth or so behind the Red Bulls, or the tenth or so behind the Mercs, but now they've closed that gap up and they're basically identical. As for the V10s, I grew up with the V10s, and as much as I'd love to hear them, it wouldn't be naturally aspirated or a turbo V8 with KERS for the current manufacturers. Yeah, that's the thing. The current manufacturers would much prefer something with a turbo, much prefer something with some sort of electrical component to it. And yeah, that about sums it up, isn't it? Okay. Are Ferrari competitive this weekend? Well, I don't know. Well, competitive in terms of winning the race, probably not. But getting a podium, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure. I thought they brought back the super soft tires. No, well, I think the super softs were red. No, it was the super softs were red. The mediums were yellow, and then, oh no, was it the softs that were yellow and then the mediums were white? No. The mediums were yellow. The super softs. Oh, I'm getting this all mixed up now. I know the ultra softs were purple. The hyper softs were pink. What color? So I've actually forgot. The softs were red. Okay. The mediums were white. Okay, right. And the oranges were hard. Okay, the hard was oranges. Okay. Yeah, because we never really saw the hard tires used anywhere back in 2018 when when we still had all of these different colors. But as of right now, the softs are red, and wait, the softs were red? No, weren't the super softs. The super softs were red. The ultra softs were purple. I've got to get this up now. The soft. Okay. Anyway. As of right now, I'm not going to confuse all of the new fans. We've got soft tires being the red tires, the medium tires being the yellow tires, and the hard tires being the white tires. How do the compounds compare to current day tires? Honestly, I would not be able to make that comparison because the cars have changed so much. You know, the cars have got quicker in certain parts of the track. They've got slower in certain parts of the track. So, yeah, I would just say that there'd probably just be similar tires for the similar for the same circuits. Like Singapore is going to have the hyper softs, the ultra softs, and the super softs. So they're going to have the C5, the C4, C3s. That's kind of how you just compare them, really. But no, we have not got the ultra softs back. They've just changed the tires have just been changed temporarily. When the drivers actually come out onto the circuit, it'll change to the normal colours. The tyres are too hard overall. Indeed, that is the issue. Too hard tyres leads to only a one-stop race, and a one-stop race equals to boring. So that is yeah, that's a formula that they really need to change. They need to make it two stops. There was something called super hard and ice blue. Yeah, there were ice tires. If you could go back to, like, say 2018 and looked at Pirelli's website, they actually had ice Formula One tires. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Anu Greg, for the message. Yeah, that's the correct. Hard's orange, medium's white, soft's yellow, super soft's red, ultra soft's purple, and hyper soft's pink. But I do think the F1 have done a good job in sort of renaming these tires and making it a little bit more accessible to normal fans. Because if I asked you the difference between an ultra soft and a hyper soft, which one? Like, of course, now you guys know, if you watched Formula One before, you would pick the hyper softs being softer. But if you didn't know, then yeah, ultra soft, hyper soft, they basically they could be equivalent. Anyway. Yeah, here we are. We've got 5,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And we'll be underway for qualifying very, very shortly. Yeah, 4 minutes and 44 seconds to go. And then we'll have our first Q1 session with all 20 cars on the circuit. Then Q2 with 15 cars and Q3 with 10. Okay. Ultrasofts were good for what, 5 laps? Well, Ultrasofts were, in fact, when you were driving around when you were driving around Singapore, the Ultrasofts could do pretty much the half the race. Yeah. But some other circuits, then you would have Ultrasofts last only 2 laps. Okay, why did Alpine change colours? I've personally changed the colours for Alpine purely because we had way too much blue going on the screen. We had the Mercs being blue, we had the Red Bulls being blue, Williams being blue, Alpines being blue, and VCarb being blue. So they were all just sort of, well, way too much blue on the screen. So I turned the VCarbs into white because, to fit their new livery that is all white. And I changed the Alpines to be pink because, well, I just think that it'll stand out a little bit. And they did have a pink on there, quite a bit of livery. They did have quite a lot of pink on their livery earlier on in the season, and they still do a little bit. Probably have the most pink out of all the teams right now, so fair enough. Why not? All right. How many laps can the Supersoft do in Bahrain? Well, if you ask Sebastian Vettel in 2018, the Supersofts can do about half the race, really. Seb Vettel pulled off a fantastic stint on the Supersofts to go and actually win the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix. So they can do a lot of laps around here, especially if Seb Vettel's the one driving them around. Okay. So here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, getting underway for qualifying in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to be getting pole position? And we've just got the team radios coming through now. The first one from Lance Stroll saying, I've got understeer turn 80, oversteer turn 90. I think that's just a bit of a glitch with the whole AI system. But at least the first team radio has come through, and we'll get the other ones coming through shortly. And the weather conditions are, with the wind has really picked up. The wind is now coming from the northeasterly direction, and it is coming through at 15 kilometers per hour, which is, well, not ideal really for the drivers. The drivers would like as little wind as possible. These cars are very sensitive to that, but they're going to have to deal with it, aren't they? All right. Track temperature 31 degrees, as I said earlier, but the wind is blowing, but it's fairly consistent. It's not gusting about. It's not providing huge swings in direction or anything like that. It is a fairly consistent wind, and let's wait and see. All right, if we have a look at who's got the most pole positions around here, Fernando Alonso has got 1 pole position, Charles Leclerc has got 2 pole positions, Hamilton, Verstappen and Vettel have got 3 pole positions around the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit. So who is going to be your favourite for pole? Will it be Max Verstappen? Will it be Charles Leclerc? Or will it be Oscar Piastri or Lando Norris? Let's wait and see. 7,000 people tuned into stream. That is absolutely fantastic. If we could hit 141k subs today, that would be brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we are 1 minute away from the green light at the end of the pit lane. All of the drivers already sat in the cars. Nobody's sitting around waiting to get going. And drivers underway for their qualifying procedures. Fantastic. Okay. Also, I asked this question earlier on in Free Practice 3, but of course not all of you are watching Free Practice 3. So I'm going to ask this question again. What would you guys consider the sort of greatest motorsport race, like not in history, but just the greatest motorsport race that happens every year? Would it be, the Monaco Grand Prix? Would it be the Le Mans 24 Hours? Would it be the Nürburgring 24 Hours? Daytona 500, Indy 500? Let me know what you think, because I was having a think about it. A lot of people said Bathurst. Bathurst is a fantastic circuit, and the racing around there is incredible. And yeah, we're gonna have a green light at the end of the pit lane very, very soon. And yeah, let me just get rid of this timer here. There we go. All right, Lance Stroll, first car out the pit lane. Bathurst 1000, Le Mans. Yeah, Le Mans, Isle of Man, TT. Maybe Daytona 24 Hours. Yeah, incredible, really. Don't know, 24 Hours of Nürburgring. It would be pretty cool to take part in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. Like, obviously, I wouldn't be doing it in one of the fastest cars on the grid. Like, maybe even like GT5, if that's even a thing. But like, that'd be pretty cool. 24 Hours of Nürburgring. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Of course, you have the Triple Crown, which is the Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix, and the Le Mans 24 Hours. So, yeah, I would say Le Mans 24 Hours. Which one's more prestigious, Le Mans 24 Hours or Nürburgring 24 Hours? I'm not sure, but either way, doing either of them would be incredible. Monaco is also right up there, isn't it, as well? The Dakar one, what's it called? The Dakar Rally, yeah. That's pretty good as well. Okay, if we look at the qualifying head-to-head, Fernando Alonso has out-qualified Lance Stroll 3 times 2-0. Not a surprise, really. However, Lance Stroll is the Aston Martin driver that has scored points, and Fernando Alonso is yet to score any points with Aston Martin this season. He is down there with his points tally of 0. Very, very unfortunate. Hasn't had the best of starts to the season, but we'll see if he can recover. Yeah. Okay. Bus racing. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's this there's lorry racing, there's truck racing, there's bus racing. I'm sure there'll be like tractor racing as well. And who knows? Anyway, let's continue on with the 24 Hours of Nürburgring is incredible, unless there's fog. Yeah, I don't remember what happened in the most recent one, but there was Stroll's on a flying lap. But wasn't there like a very long red flag because there was a bunch of fog? Is that something that happened? I cannot remember exactly, but all right, let's go on with our flying lap. Then we got Lance Stroll going through turn number 5, 6, and 7. He makes his way towards turn number 8. Looking good so far on this lap for Lance Stroll starting out. We'll see what Fernando Alonso can do. But both drivers, look at those top speeds. 3:15 Ks for those drivers going through the speed traps. Nico Hülkenberg, 3:17 Ks. Hülkenberg's engine has been fixed, clearly, because he's out on the circuit. But yeah, going 3 kilometers per hour quicker than the Astons. Unfortunately, I won't be able to fit on all of the speed trap speeds up on the screen. That's just due to size constraints, because I can make the font of everything smaller, but then people who are watching on their phone, which I think is about 40% of people who are watching on their phone, won't be able to read anything. So yeah, I do have to make a bit of compromise. I can see the numbers, but I'll let you know of any relevant numbers. I won't have all of them up on the screen as of now. Okay. Alright, Lance Stroll, lap time deleted for exceeding track limits at turn number 13. Fantastic, isn't it? Comes across the line and he gets his lap time deleted. Incredible way to start out the qualifying session there for Stroll. Turn number 13, track limits are monitored at that corner. There is a big exit curb that you can drive over. Will gain you a bunch of time, but of course, if you drive over it, then if you exceed the track limits, you will get your lap time deleted. classic Lance Stroll moment. Fernando Alonso, though, purple in all 3 sectors. It's been a while since Fernando Alonso's had that message over his radio, but he is in first position, half a second clear of Nico Hülkenberg. Very nice. And now we're getting the other half. Well, we're getting the first half of the grid making their way out onto the circuit, and they're still making some changes to Esteban Ocon's seat. I don't know what is going on there, but Ocon's still not in the car, which is a little bit worrying, but I'm sure they'll be able to manage. There's still 13 minutes left of the session. Behrman is out, though. Why is Ferrari taking so long? I have no idea, but they've finally made their way out onto the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton crawling around. All of these drivers, of course, they'll be looking to minimise their tyre temperature as they start their flying lap, because, well, having tyres that are slightly cool is actually better than having tyres that are overheating. So that's why they'll all be crawling out the pit lane at a snail's pace to try and reduce their speed. Verstappen, though, comes across the line to start a flying lap, and we've got a couple more drivers as well coming across the line to start their laps as well. Okay, F1 Gamer, I like the new colours. Well, thank you very much. I just thought it'd be a little bit more useful if they were sort of, well, the correct colour essentially, and a little bit different from each other as well. Makes it easier to see the teams. Yep, I think that was the point, and I think mission successful. Nicely done from, I guess, well done to me. Well done to me indeed. Okay, so, yeah, we got the drivers making their way around the laps now. Verstappen's on a flying lap. We'll go on board with him, actually. Purple in the first sector. What a surprise. But, yeah, he's Tsunoda, actually. Oh, look at this. Tsunoda's only 22 milliseconds off Alonso's first sector. So, not too bad there. He's only, a tenth off Verstappen's first sector, 10th and a half. So, not too shabby from the start from Tsunoda. Let's see what Verstappen's middle sector's looking like, though. Looking pretty quick, but he doesn't go purple, actually. Alonso's quicker in the middle sector than Verstappen is. That's an interesting one. And Verstappen's speed trap speed 316 Ks for Max Verstappen. Liam Lawson 317 Ks, and we'll keep an eye out on the McLaren speed trap speed when they start their flying laps. But it looks like they're not going that much quicker, really. Everyone hovering between 314 and 317. If someone gets a tow, of course, that'll put them up to, Verstappen's messed up his lap. Unfortunate, into the pits he goes. Made a mistake on the final corner, and into the pit, aborts his lap. We'll see what Tsunoda can do. Tsunoda, in fact, goes purple in the middle sector, purple in the final sector, and across the line, quarter of a second quicker than Fernando Alonso. Brilliant job. Brilliant job from Yuki Tsunoda. He was 2 tenths quicker than Max's middle sector, so it looks like Max didn't have a great middle sector either, and really messed up his final sector. Came into the pits. Doohan across the line. Doohan goes quicker than Tsunoda. Gasly into third place as well. Very, very nicely done. Okay, well, either the Alpines have serious pace, or or Tsunoda's slow. I'm not sure which one it is. It could be a combination of both, really. Verstappen's come over the radio saying there's something really wrong with the car. He had a huge lockup. He had a lockup of the outside tyre. I mean, maybe he was braking on the white line. It looked like he was, but that's not the most... we've seen drivers brake on the white line before, and they've got their track, and it's been fine. Oh, Tsunoda's got a lap time deleted. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be one of those sessions where we have lap times getting deleted left, right, and centre. Charles Leclerc goes half a second up on Doohan's first sector time. Incredible from Charles Leclerc, but I will have to keep you up to date on all of their lap times getting deleted. It was the final corner. Verstappen and Tsunoda both got their lap times deleted at the final corner. It was by the finest of margins, but nonetheless, a lap time deleted is a lap time deleted. Hamilton now coming across the start-finish line. What does that put him up to? Second place for him, and he's half a tenth back from Doohan. Charles Leclerc was half a second up on Doohan just in the first sector alone. So I don't know how that has happened, but yeah, Lewis Hamilton's got a lot of lap time to gain. Oh, Leclerc got a slipstream. Leclerc got a very nice tow. He was 327 through the speed trap. Oh my goodness me. 327. That's an extra 10 Ks per hour. And that's how he gained that half a second. And across the line he goes. Half a second clear of Jack Doohan and half a second clear of his teammate as well. Piastri purple in the middle sector. He's half a second up on Doohan's time as well. Let's see what he can do. Oscar Piastri. Norris goes quicker than him by a tenth in the middle sector as well, taking that purple middle sector off him. Piastri across the line, half a tenth up from Leclerc. The Ferraris and the McLarens looking good here. Ferrari brought an upgraded car, and it looks like they're able to fight. Lando Norris across the line, 3/10 clear of his teammates. Oh my goodness me. Purple in the second sector, purple in the third sector. Fantastic lap from Lando Norris, and he goes clear of his teammate. However, look at that. Look at the drop zone there, ladies and gentlemen. Max Verstappen, we've got, well, Antonelli, Verstappen, Ocon, Stroll, and Tsunoda, all drivers who've got lap times deleted. Sorry, Antonelli is on his first flying lap, but apart from that, everyone else, lap time deleted. Antonelli across the line, 4th place for him. Then, well, let's see what George Russell can do. He goes across the line. Only 6th place for George, actually. He's a 10th back from his teammate. A bit unfortunate there for George Russell, but we'll see if he can improve on his next lap. Fernando Alonso across the line. 5th place for Alonso. Great lap from him. 3:16 through the speed trap, so no toe or anything like that. Just pure pace from Alonso. And up into 5th place. No, just a little bit behind Antonelli. Not bad. Not bad indeed. Can we get a Mr. Attenborough to narrate the session? Sure. I mean, I think I could go into ASMR mode, talk very, very softly and smoothly, but I think qualifying, is the high energy type of session that we need. And well, we've had a fairly interesting qualifying so far. 3/10 clear is Lando Norris of his teammate. Norris was saying after FP2, is like, oh no, the gap isn't that big. We're not that far ahead of Red Bull. We're not that far ahead of Ferrari. By the looks of it, mate, 3.5 tenths is the gap, isn't it? We're still yet to see what, the full pace of Verstappen and Tsunoda can do, but they'll be making their way out onto the circuit very, very shortly. Okay, we've got some flying laps coming through from Hülkenberg and Ocon. Let's see what they can do. Ocon goes across the line up into 9th place for him. And we got Hülkenberg, the last driver, yet to do a flying lap that hasn't got it deleted. And it's 10th place for Hülkenberg. So currently the drop zone is Stroll, Hadjar, Bortoletto, Verstappen and Tsunoda. Interesting. Well, of course, Verstappen and Tsunoda will probably get out of Q1. They've still just yet to do their laps. Interesting. All right. Verstappen locked up, braking on the white line, which is pretty strange. I mean, we haven't seen that happen at Bahrain before, and I don't know. Maybe they're fixing some things with the car, or maybe they're just waiting for the track to be a little bit clear so they can go out and do their runs in clean air. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. We've got 18,000 people tuned into the live stream. That is incredible, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. And if you have not subscribed as well, be sure to do that as well. I'll be hoping to hit 200k by the end of the season. And, I'll be commentating all of the races and stuff like that. All of the races, all the qualifying sessions, all of the practice sessions. So be sure to tune in for that one. Well, not for that one, for all of the streams in the future. Yeah, we have some fantastic racing. And we've got a championship battle on our hands as well for the race for the drivers' championship. I think it's fairly clear that McLaren are going to win the constructors. However, I think it is also a little early to say that. Just looking at the first couple of races in 2024, we were like, oh, Verstappen's just going to breeze to another championship. He's going to win 20 races in a row this time. But no, that clearly didn't happen. So there's still time left to go. And of course, there's that rule change happening in the Spanish Grand Prix where they're banning the flexible wings. So maybe that will bring McLaren's dominance down. Maybe, they bring a couple more upgrade packages. But of course, this year we'll have slightly less upgrade packages than normal because all of the teams will be so focused on developing the car perfectly for 2026. They don't want to, waste resources on developing a upgrade package for this year's car, which isn't going to be used past a couple of races. Okay. Let's see. Last year's pole time, by the way, a 1:29.1. So we're 2 seconds off last year's pole time, which might just be purely down to track conditions. Or maybe I've got last year's pole time wrong. I shall double check if I can find where I put my phone. All right, we've got a nice old queue. Oh my goodness me, what a huge queue we've got at the end of the pit lane here. We've slowly but surely Stroll, Hadjar and Sainz are all crawling out of the pits. But yeah, they've got a nice old queue and everyone is waiting around. Okay. Let me know who you think is going to get pole position. It might be, well, I think one of the McLarens is probably a pretty safe bet. Let's wait and see, though. All the engineers share a mind. Yeah, all of them sharing strategies, copying strategies off each other, really. As soon as one thing is known to work and give you a little bit of performance, news just spreads around like wildfire through the F1 paddock, and all the engineers start doing it. Okay, RB out. No, RB has just got lap times deleted. Verstappen locked up, went round and, well, exceeded track limit to the final corner and came into the pits. And Tsunoda exceeded track limit to the final corner and got his lap time deleted. Okay, we have got 18,000 people watching the live stream, nearly 19,000 people watching the live stream. That is incredible. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, we've got our final couple of laps of Q1 just coming up now, and Verstappen just leaving the pit lane at a very, very slow speed. And Tsunoda will be doing the exact same thing with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. Right, I'm going to have a sip of water because my throat is really starting to feel the pain of talking loudly. But yeah, I'll be back in a split second. Okay. Why is Piastri having to go out again? Purely for track evolution purposes. We see here in Bahrain the track does get a lot quicker, and track temperature also drops more and more, which means that there is a tiny chance that Piastri could get knocked out. It's not particularly big, but McLaren just don't want to risk it, I guess. And they sent Piastri out on an old set of tyres anyway, so they're not really losing much, because if they were using a fresh set, sure, that would be considered a bit of a waste of some tyres. But if he's out on a used set of tyres, it's not really going to matter too much, and hence that's why they've sent him out on a used set. Yeah. You know, just give the drivers a bit of a feel of the circuit, get them doing some more quali laps, and well, hopefully they'll be quick once again. Hopefully quick for Q3. That's the aim, of course. Alright, we'll have our final sets of flying laps coming through very, very shortly. There's going to be a lot of traffic, as you can see, with all 20 cars. Oh, sorry, not all 20 cars, just 19 cars on the circuit. Antonelli, though, first of the drivers to come across the line, up into third place for Antonelli. We got Behrman across the line, 13th place for him. Behrman giving Hamilton a tow here. Let's have a look at Hamilton's speed trap speed as he comes across. Yeah, 322 Ks. Hamilton's got a nice tow there off Ollie Behrman, which I'm sure will be repaid for at some point, but that's going to help him out get close to his teammate. Bortoletto, he is across the line into 12th position. Stroll across the line, 14th place for him. Then we have got Hadjar across the line, 5th place for Hadjar. We've got Verstappen starting a flying lap. Purple first sector for Hamilton, of course, after getting that tow from Behrman. Then we've got Sainz across the line, 6th place for Sainz. Tsunoda starts his flying lap. We've got George Russell and Norris coming through the final corner. 30 seconds left on the clock. Russell comes across the line to start a flying lap. Norris across the line to start a flying lap. Gasly across the line, 5th place for him. Albon across the line to, I think, start a flying lap as well. Yeah. Alonso starts flying lap, 13 seconds left. Doohan across the line, 3rd place for Jack Doohan. Wow, and this was the exact reason I said that they're going to do, the McLarens have sent out their drivers, because just in case there's a huge amount of track evolution, just to cover off that chance. And Jack Doohan, fantastic job. He's going ahead of Pierre Gasly, which is fantastic considering this is Doohan's rookie season. And, well, this is his, 4th race in Formula 1? No, sorry, his 5th. Yeah, he did Abu Dhabi last year, but Jack Doohan done a fantastic job after his 50G crash, might I add. 50G crash that he had at Suzuka in FP2. Hamilton with a great lap across the line, 2nd place for him. Currently in the drop zone, we have got Stroll, Behrman, Albon, Verstappen, and Tsunoda. Behrman comes into the pits. That is him eliminated, unfortunately. Antonelli comes into the pits as well. Verstappen's on a flying lap. Green in the 1st sector, Green in the 2nd sector, and what's it it going to be for Max Verstappen? It is third place. Brilliant, brilliant job from Max Verstappen. Second place, 2/10 off Lando Norris, so not so bad there. Let's see what Yuki Tsunoda, all eyes on him. Can he get out of Q1? Yes, he can. 11th position. There are still a lot of drivers behind him, though, so let's wait and see if that is confirmed. Russell across the line, 9th place for Russell. We got Albon on a fly. He's currently in 20th position, but his lap looks good so far. 14th place for Alex Albon. Alonso across the line, 12th place for him, pushing Tsunoda down into 13th. Ocon across the line, 12th place for him, pushing Tsunoda down to 14th. Hulkenberg across the line, 15th place for him. Tsunoda in 14th position. Hulkenberg in 15th. This is getting extremely tight. Is Liam Lawson still on a flying lap? No, he is not. Lawson has had his flying lap complete. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Albon eliminated. Sainz out-qualifies Albon for the first time this season. Lawson gets out-qualified by Hadjar. And the other drivers eliminated are Bortoletto, Stroll, and Behrman. Alonso keeps up his streak of out-qualifying Stroll every single qualifying session so far this season, 4-0 for Fernando Alonso. Albon, unfortunately, does lose his streak of out-qualifying Sainz. It was going to happen sooner or later. Sainz is a quick driver who's going to catch up to Albon. But look at those margins there. The gap between Tsunoda and Hulkenberg is 0.3 of a second from 14th to 15th place. I don't know what happened if these drivers didn't hook up their laps perfectly or what, but Albon had a lockup going into turn number 4 that cost him 0.2 of a second, and that's why he got eliminated. If you take off that 2 seconds of that he lost going into turn number 4, then he would have made it through by the skin of his teeth, might I add, but he would have made it through. So yeah, unfortunate there, and a mistake for Albon, and I'm sure all of these other drivers will have made mistakes on their flying laps as well. Behrman a huge chunk off his teammate Esteban Ocon. Very much a reverse of what we saw last weekend. I don't know why we got yellow flags deployed, but what we saw last weekend was Behrman doing significantly better than Ocon. Behrman, in fact, qualified in 9th position while Ocon got eliminated in Q1, and the Hasses have been reversed. Honestly, we see this every single time, every single year with the Haas team. Like last year we saw Hulkenberg or Magnussen, one of the two drivers would get knocked out in Q1 and the other driver makes it to Q3. I don't know why this always happens with the Haas team, and it's not even the same driver, it always alternates. So it's the most bizarre, strange thing that I've ever seen, but such is the Haas team. Jack Doohan, though, doing a fantastic job. Honestly, if I'm going to go for rookie of the race, you know how we have driver of the race? Maybe we should also have rookie of the race because we have so many rookies in Formula 1 this year. I would definitely put Doohan up there. Doohan did good job so far. Good job. Is Doohan still under threat? I don't think so. I think there were, a bunch of rumours about Colapinto potentially getting the seat, but Jack Doohan's doing a good job, and it would be at least the halfway point of the season before they replace him. Otherwise, they're going to go right to the end of the season, then think about it. Okay. Why is there a yellow flag? Temps? No, the yellow flag's purely just for the lols. Honestly, I have no idea really. But it should be fine. They'll get that cleared up before the Albon locked up going into turn number 4. Maybe it's something related to that. I'm not 100% certain. All right, I'm going to take you guys through a lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit. We'll have Q2 starting in what is that? It's going to be in 2 minutes time. So we'll be underway for Q2 very, very shortly. But in the meantime, I shall take you through a lap of the circuit. Also, I don't know what's going on with these radio messages from Albon. Interesting radio message. I'm sure these are AI transcripted, so it's probably just a little bit of a mistake, to be honest. But yeah, we've got some replays here from Charles Leclerc's flying lap and some mistakes going through turn number 5 and turn number 6, whereas Piastri's flying lap seems fairly flawless. And so there's still some lap time to be gained for Charles Leclerc. Okay, let's go with the onboard. The onboard of the circuit. You make your way through turn number 1, up the hill towards turn number 3, and you got DRS going down this straight here towards turn number 4. This is where Albon locked up, but of course I was driving with ABS on the game, so I'm not locking up going into turn number 4. You hit that apex, stay well within track limits here. FIA are monitoring track limits at this corner. Then through turn number 5 and turn number 6, this is where Leclerc had his little moment and lost a bunch of time, so Leclerc can gain some time in the middle sector. Going towards turn number 8, it's a downhill braking zone, locking up fairly easy, and getting on the power like that and spinning out also fairly easy. Turn number 9 and 10, sorry. We've seen about 12 drivers lock up here throughout the practice sessions, and we're probably going to see some more happen in the race as well. We've got DRS heading towards turn number 12. You want to, brake half on the circuit, half not on the circuit. Once again, track limits are monitored here, so stay within the white lines, and up the hill you go towards turn number 12. And you want to get a late apex for this corner because you've got a big long straight ahead of you, so a late apex, foot flat to the floor immediately, and then you go towards the final corner. You can brake over the curbs here. Verstappen had an issue locking up into here, and Tsunoda had an issue with track limits on the exit. In fact, I probably would have exceeded track limits if the F1 game was if the F1 game was half decent, but nonetheless, that is a lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit, and we'll be underway for qualifying very, very shortly. And maybe we'll see, a Red Bull doing burnouts here at the end of Q3, or maybe we won't. But that's a lap of the circuit. All right. 15 minutes of a Q2 session, and that will be starting in a minute or two, ladies and gents. So not long whatsoever. F1 Gamer on pole. In fact, yeah, I'm driving the 2021 car in that onboard. I've got F1 21. So the cars are much faster than they are this year, and if I was driving around that car and Lando Norris and Max Verstappen were driving the current cars, I would be on pole position. So yeah, no, this lap was pretty bad actually. Normally I'm in the top 1% of time trial times on the F1 games if I can hook up a properly good lap, but no, this lap I put together because I had to record some footage for the stream, and if I tried to hook up a perfect lap, it would have taken me ages because I haven't driven the F1 game in about it must be like 6 months or something. It's been a long time since I played the game, so not particularly quick. Right, how many DRS zones are there? There are 3 DRS zones, one down the main straight, one between turn number 3 and turn number 4. In fact, I'll just show you on the screen here. You can see my cursor, I think. You got a DRS zone down here, and then you got a DRS zone between turn number 3 and 4, and then you got another DRS zone between turn number 10 and 11. All right. Also, folks, if you are interested in watching the coverage, with all of the data, with all of the onboards, with all of the telemetry, and all of the professional commentary, rather than from the amateur commentary from me, then there is a link to F1 TV in the description. You can go ahead and check that out. It helps out the channel, get a little commission off that, and would very much be appreciated. Okay, but Q2 has begun. We've got Tsunoda, the first driver, out onto the circuit. He's out on a fresh set of tyres. I'll keep you up to date on who's on which set of tyres, because that will be important, at least for the first couple of runs here in Q2. Yeah. Okay. And if we're just purely looking here at the theoretical best times of all of the drivers, why is there no DRS between turn number 13 and 14? I'd appreciate if you didn't spam, but I will answer your question. There's no DRS between turn number 13 and 14 is because if there were 4 DRS zones on this circuit, it would be way too easy to overtake. The driver who is 1 second behind would just have such a huge advantage compared to the driver ahead. They would just breeze past them down the straights, and there would be no overtaking. Sort of the aim of DRS is to assist overtaking and to make the drivers side by side going into the braking zone, so you have those battles where one driver will be super duper late on the brakes and the other driver will maybe go for a switchback. Like, that's what you want from the DRS. Like, that's the purpose of it, to bring the drivers side by side. If you have a 4th DRS zone to the circuit, it makes it way too easy to overtake. All right. What does the ST mean right at the end of the timing board? The ST is the speed trap speed that have been cut off. Once all the sector times come through, it gets cut off the side of the screen. But I've still got it available on my screen, so I will keep you up to date on the speed trap speeds and who's getting a tow and who's not on their flying laps. All right, here comes Yuki Tsunoda on a flying lap then, and yeah, he is 312 k's down the straight, so didn't even get a good exit out of the final corner for Yuki Tsunoda. It's lower than his personal best. And if we just look at theoretical lap times here, if Yuki Tsunoda hooks up all of his perfect first sector, second sector, third sector, that will put him 3/10 behind Max Verstappen's theoretical best. So still a bit of time to be gained in all three sectors for Yuki Tsunoda. It's not a specific sector where he made a mistake on a flying lap. Everywhere there is small bits of lap time being dropped around, and he needs to go pick those up to catch up to Max. Okay. We got yellow flags. What's that for? Where are the yellow flags? It's saying yellow flags, but I don't know. Oh, Ocon. Ocon has stopped at turn number 3. Huge crash. Oh my goodness me. I mean, that's very red flag, and yeah. So much smoke, very similar to what happened with Romain Grosjean. Honestly, at the exact same point. Luckily, no fire this time, and yeah, huge crash. We got a red flag deployed here. I don't know what was going on there with Esteban Ocon, but Tsunoda with his Tsunoda's on a good lap. That's unfortunately been cut short. Esteban Ocon is okay. He's getting out the car, but a pretty big crash there. Oh, and actually, it wasn't at the same point as where Romain Grosjean had his crash. It was on the other part of the track. It was on the left side rather than the right side, but nonetheless, same part of the circuit. And he's beached himself in a gravel trap and damaged his car pretty severely. That is him out of qualifying. The Haas mechanics got their head in their hands, and they've got to do a lot of repair work overnight. They're not going to be particularly pleased about that one, but yeah, such is the life of being a Formula One mechanic. You got a lot of long nights and a lot of repair work to do. Ferrari faster than the Red Bull. It's a tough call to make. Ferrari have brought their upgrade packages. Their upgrade packages seem to be working well. I can't say for certain if they're going to be faster or not than the Red Bull. I think they'll be faster than Tsunoda. Faster than Max is a question that I'm not certain about. All right, we've hit our like target, so I'll pop that up to about 5,000 because why not? We've got a replay here of Esteban Ocon. He's going through turn number 3 over the curbs, and he loses the car as he's going through turn number 3, and flies backwards into the barrier. Not a huge impact, but he's hit the back of the car into the barrier, which is where the gearbox, where the engine is. So not the best place to impact for him. Yeah, he comes over the radio saying, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm really sorry about that, guys." All right. Unfortunate for Esteban Ocon. But Hamilton and Piastri make their way back into the pits, and Ocon's been taken in the medical car. And sooner or later, they're going to get a crane out to the car. So I don't know, unfortunately, ladies and gents, when the restart's going to happen. So I can't tell you exactly when we're going to restart, but it will be within 5 to 10 minutes, so we're just going to have to hang in there. Unfortunate there for Tsunoda, who's on a quick lap, but yeah, he'll just have to do it again. The thing is, he's already used those tyres for 1 lap, so maybe he can get away with doing his first run, or his second run technically, in Q2 on that same set of tyres, so he doesn't have to waste too many fresh sets of softs. Okay. I can't see turn 3 on your map. You can see turn number 3. It's just that it's not labelled. The label has been cut off, but there's no point having the label there because you'd much rather probably have the map bigger size. What caused the crash? Skill issue. That's what caused it, really. He was just getting onto the power. Too much power going through the rear wheels, not enough traction, and then he bounced over the curbs, which unsettled the car even further, and then spun around and into the barrier as he went. Ambition outweighed his talent, or ambition over adhesion, as Martin Brundle would say. What happened? I just tuned into the stream. Why is there a red flag? Ocon crashed into the barrier. That's why we have a red flag. Yeah. Be sure to hit the like button, ladies and gents. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're getting pretty close to 141k. And for you folks that weren't tuned into the FP3 stream, tomorrow is in fact the 5-year channel anniversary. The channel was started on the 14th of April 2020, and 5 years on, here we are at 140,000 subscribers, which is quite incredible. Yeah. Oh no, not tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, on Monday, is the 5-year channel anniversary. But nonetheless, this race weekend I would basically call the channel anniversary race weekend, which is yeah, kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in for all of these years. Really, we've got people tuning in since 2021, and kind of mind blowing to think about. F1 Gamer, let's get an in-game version of the crash. Honestly, I've done that crash around Bahrain quite a few times, especially in the F1 21 game, because the curbs are quite vicious in that game. But unfortunately, I haven't got my Xbox turned on or plugged into my laptop or anything along those lines, so won't be able to do that one. Okay. Lawson is just slow, maybe, but he's also, you know, he hasn't done any sort of testing here. Like, okay, let's have a look. Isaac Hadjar did all of preseason testing in the VCARB at Bahrain. Liam Lawson did all of preseason testing in the Red Bull at Bahrain. So he hasn't really got that much experience. Oh, we've got an estimated time of Q2 resumption. Oh my goodness me, the FIA are being transparent with us. Normally we get no information from the FIA, but now they've told us when the session is going to restart, or estimating when the session is going to restart. So in fact, let me just put that up on the screen. QUALI restarts in, well, it's only 2 minutes, but I shall put it up on the screen anyway. There we go. QUALI restarts in 2 minutes. Fantastic. The colours up on the screen. So blue means slower than your coming out of the pit lane. So you'll see the drivers who came out of the pit lane, and then the red flag was called and they came back into the pit lane. Then you'll have yellow, which is slower than your personal best, green, which is quicker than your personal best, and purple, which means fastest out of any other driver. So yeah, Tsunoda was on a good lap there. Of course, this was his first lap. This was the first lap anyone had done in Q2, so it was going to be all-purpose purple regardless. So not too much, like, it wasn't like a sensationally mega lap or anything. It was just the first lap of Q2, but regardless, it was still a quick lap. So unfortunately, I got cut short. The track is clear. Yeah, the track is clear. But QUALI will not restart until this timer hits 0. So let's just hang in there till the timer goes to 0. Which team or driver do you support? Well, I try to be unbiased. At heart, I'm a Sebastian Vettel fan. But since Seb Vettel isn't driving anymore, I tend to support no one. If you ask me for a certain driver, then maybe Alonso, maybe Piastri, but yeah, that is and red mini sector means crash, like the driver's crashed. So yeah. Oh, Asaka Hakatori, thank you for joining Grand Slam once again. That's the 2 Grand Slams actually in a single weekend, which is incredible. Thank you so much for joining the Grand Slam channel membership. Very much is appreciated. Yeah. How to create a champion, name him Kimmy. Yeah, maybe. Kimmy's doing a very, very good job so far. Okay. Alright, who crashed? Esteban Ocon did. Esteban Ocon crashed. That's why he's got a little red mini sector for the part of the circuit that he crashed on. What is your view on Lewis? Well, I think Lewis is a pretty quick driver. I think that he hasn't fully settled into the Ferrari team yet, but I think sooner or later he will do. He'll be up to speed with Charles Leclerc. However, if I had to predict who's going to score more points, Charles Leclerc or Lewis Hamilton for this season, I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc. Yeah. Alright, we've got the drivers exiting the pit lane, timer is ticking down, Antonelli, Russell, Hulkenberg all making their way out onto the circuit, and everyone is lined up in the pits, getting ready to go. In fact, they're all lined up in the pits because they want to reduce their tyre temperature. That's the main thing. But nonetheless, yeah, everyone's waiting in the pit lane and will be getting ready to go qualifying very, very shortly. Statistically, 1982 was the best season as it had 11 different drivers win a race with a 16-race season. Oh, that's actually pretty incredible. I did not know that. 1982 had 11 different winners. Pretty good, actually. Okay, favorite F1 season? Well, I don't know. I've only watched Formula One since 2018, so you could say 2021 or 2024. Those are the two options, aren't there? Really, I'm not sure. Really, one of those two. So Ocon will be starting. Which place? Ocon will be starting in 15th, I think. Yeah, he didn't put a lap in, so he'll be starting in 15th position, unless he's got gearbox damage and engine damage, which means he'll start from the pit lane. But we'll confirm that later on tomorrow. Oh, Leslie has joined the channel membership. Thank you very much, Leslie, as well. I will, in fact, have this ready for tomorrow. I think have everyone's have all the channel members' names scroll across the bottom. Yeah, thank you everyone for becoming a channel member, for liking the stream, for subscribing. It's all very much appreciated and means a lot. F1 Gamer, can you imitate your commentary if Seb is driving? My commentary if Seb is driving, I mean, you'd just have to wait. I mean, you'd have to go back to, say, 2020 when Seb was driving in the Ferrari, and what was it, 2020 Turkey when Seb made a final lap overtake on Charles Leclerc to get a podium. Like, you'll have to just listen to how overjoyed I was. I don't even know if that's still up on the channel, or was it 2021 where Vettel did that? No, it was 2020 because he was with Ferrari. I don't even know if that's still up on the channel, but I was so happy, and I was very biased. But since Seb isn't here anymore, I think I'm a fairly neutral commentator. All right. When did you get into F1? I got into F1 2018 Spa. That was the first race that I watched. Oh, Antonelli on a flying lap here. Purple in the first sector. That purple first sector is taken away by George Russell very promptly. But nonetheless, looking good here from the two Merc drivers. And they're out on used sets of tyres as well. Interesting. Since Lawson has a DRS problem, is he going to start from the pit lane? Normally, if you have an issue in qualifying, you're allowed to fix that issue. You're not allowed to change any parts or change a setup, thing like that. So I think Lawson will still be fine to start from the grid tomorrow. Apparently he's had a DRS issue. Maybe he has, maybe he has. I haven't seen anything about that exactly. But there we go. First driver across the line. Kimi Antonelli, 131.1 from him. Then we have got George Russell across the line, second place for him. He goes 2/10 back from his teammate Antonelli, 2/10 quicker than Russell, second time in a row in Q1 and in Q2. Antonelli is looking really good here. George Russell might be starting to feel the heat. Don't know what's going on there. Hulkenberg, they're half a second back from Antonelli, and looking good. Why have some drivers not left the pit lane yet? They're just not left. Yeah, they're just waiting around really. Want some clean air maybe, or they're only going to do one run in Q2. That's why. Sainz across the line, he splits the two Mercedes, looking good there from Carlos Sainz. We've got Gasly across the line, fourth place for Pierre Gasly. Then we've got Lando Norris, had a purple middle sector, no thank you, says Oscar Piastri, and he takes that off him. Norris goes across the line, first place for him, half a second, 0.6 of a second clear of Oscar Piastri. Oh my goodness me. Max Verstappen is on par with Piastri's time as he goes through the middle sector, but he comes into the pits again after, I think, making another mistake. Piastri is 0.7 of a second up on Antonelli's time, and he's a 10th clear of his teammate. Oh my goodness me, what a lap from Oscar Piastri. And yeah, McLaren domination might bore fans, ladies and gentlemen. Max Verstappen had to abort a lap again. I think that he's made another mistake, which has caused him to get out, to go back into the pit. We got Charles Leclerc with a great lap with the upgraded Ferrari, and it's still third place for him. He's still 0.6 back from Oscar Piastri. Oh my goodness me. Alright, let's see what Hamilton can do, and we'll see what Verstappen and Tsunoda can do on their, flying laps. But if we look at a theoretical best lap time here, ladies and gents, if we look at the theoretical best lap time that Max Verstappen could put in, it's a 1:31.2. And that will put him slap bang behind Antonelli in fifth position. So even if he hooks up all of his perfect sectors that he has, in Q1 and Q2 up until this point, still not enough to get anywhere near the McLarens. In fact, let's have a look at anyone else's theoretical best lap times. And only Leclerc could have got a little bit closer. Leclerc could have been 0.3 off the back of Norris rather than 0.6 off the back if he had put all of his sectors together perfectly, but still, that gap to the McLarens is huge. Okay, I mean, honestly, the FIA, sooner rather than later, please ban the flexible rear wings and the flexible wings in general, hopefully slowing down the McLarens, because that'll make this a lot more exciting. And, well, even if they don't do that, Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri at Bahrain. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we cast our minds back to 2014, where we had the duel in the desert between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? The Mercedes were like 2 seconds a lap quicker than the rest of the field, but they were still battling away, and it was incredible to watch. So even if we don't have, 4 different teams competing for the race win, I think Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri with 3 DRS zones at Bahrain is going to be a fantastic combination to watch, because sooner or later these papaya rules are going to disintegrate into nothingness, and we're just going to have straight up fighting for the championship, and I cannot wait for that day to arrive. And honestly, I think that day might be tomorrow. Yeah. All right, we got a flying lap here from Alonso, but he is... Alonso was on a flying lap. He's now just coming out of the pits. Verstappen comes out of the pits. Tsunoda comes out of the pits. We've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds left of the... 3 minutes and 30 seconds left of the session, and we'll have drivers making their way out into pit lane very shortly. How are the McLaren so faster? They are, I don't know, they've just got a faster car, a more aerodynamically efficient car. They've got the same power unit as the Mercedes team, so theoretically they should have, it's just the aerodynamics, really. The aerodynamics, the chassis. All right, let's have a look at these laps here. Then we've got everyone out on a fresh set of tyres. Nobody who is currently out on the circuit is out on a used set. The flexi wing is probably helping them out. I don't think it's the reason for all of their pace, but it is a contributing factor, I think, because this is the thing, right? Okay, so McLaren have reasonable speed through the straights. Like they're keeping up with everyone through the straights. The thing is, though, through the medium speed corners, they are gaining boatloads of time compared to everyone else, and they're gaining that purely because if they have a flexible wing, they can put on a little bit extra rear wing angle, a little bit extra front wing angle, and what that will do is in the medium speed corners, when you need that downforce, it helps them out and lets them go quicker. But then when they're going down the straights, the rear wing flexes a little bit, it sort of folds itself a little bit flatter, and then you lose that downforce, but you also lose the drag, and you get a little bit of extra top speed. So I think the flexi wings are helping them out. I don't know how big of an impact it will be, though. Will it be 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second, half a second? Don't know. But let's wait and see. All right then, ladies and gents, we've got 2 minutes left of the session. The only driver sat in the pit lane as of now is Oscar Piastri. Esteban Ocon's in the medical centre, and everyone else is on the circuit. Max is starting his flying lap. Tsunoda is on his flying lap as well. Let's have a look at his first sector. 29.0 from his first sector. He goes a tenth slower than Antonelli, but still all right pace here from Tsunoda. We'll see if he can make it through into Q2. Antonelli across the line, third place for him. Russell across the line. He goes slightly quicker than his teammate by 0.5 of a second. Third place for Russell, and they're still 0.2 back from the McLarens. Track temperature is 30.8 degrees. Tsunoda across the line, 6th place for him. Good job there from Yuki Tsunoda. Maybe he'll be able to make his way into Q3. 1 minute left on the clock, so that's the end of his lap. We've got Hamilton across the line, and that is 5th place for Lewis Hamilton. Pierre Gasly, purple in the middle sector. Oh my goodness me, what is going on here? What's he going to do? He's just got the final couple of corners left. Hadjar across the line, 8th place for Isaac Hadjar, and... here we go then. We've got Leclerc starting his flying lap, and we've got Gasly here on a 3rd place for Pierre Gasly. Where has this come from? Where is Alpine's pace just arrived from? 38.8 in the middle sector. That's 0.3 quicker than Hamilton in the middle sector. Alpine are meant to be down on horsepower. They're meant to be 10 horsepower down compared to everyone else. And still, at this circuit, with so many straights, so many power-limited sections, they're up in 3rd place. What is going on here? Is Verstappen has just done his lap. It's 7th place for Verstappen, 3rd place for Pierre Gasly. Alpine, Alpine don't even Alpine didn't even bring any upgrades, ladies and gentlemen. I had a look at the FIA documents. Alpine didn't even bring a single upgrade. Where is this pace come from? Where is this absolutely mega lap from Pierre Gasly come from? Doohan's currently on a flying lap. Let's see what he can do. Currently the elimination zone, Hadjar, Doohan, Hulkenberg, Alonso, and Ocon. If Doohan sets a good lap, that could be Tsunoda knocked out of Q3. Let's wait and see. Jack Doohan, across the line he comes. What? Oh, 11th place. So close between him. He's half a second back from his teammate. Pierre Gasly goes fantastically around Bahrain. I've got to tell you, Gasly is brilliant at this circuit. He's got his highest ever, apart from his race win that he got in, apart from any of his, I think, before he got his podiums and before he got his win, his highest race finish was in Bahrain in the Toro Rosso in 4th place. So, yeah, Pierre Gasly goes very well around this circuit, but still half a second clear of his teammate. 3rd place for him, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of Q2, we have got Jack Doohan eliminated, Isaac Hadjar eliminated, Hulkenberg, Alonso and Ocon eliminated, and Verstappen and Tsunoda in 9th and 10th place on pure pace. This is not, they had a bad lap, they made a mistake, they locked up. This is pure pace, ladies and gentlemen. And how has this even happened? Red Bull's downfall needs to be studied. Like, they went from the fastest team on the grid to now here they are in 9th and 10th position. Even Verstappen can't drive the car anymore. Oh my goodness me. Alright, we got 27,000 people tuned into live stream. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. If we can make our way towards 5,000 likes, that would be incredible. And, wow, well, we've got a very interesting quali session on our hands here. If Pierre Gasly can hook up a perfect lap and go within 2/10 of the McLarens, then who knows what anyone else can do. Yeah, Q3 starts in, what's it going to start in? It's probably 3 or 4 minutes, ladies and gents. So let's just hang in there. Don't leave the stream just yet. I'll take you through an onboard lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit, and then we'll be underway for qualifying very, very shortly. Okay. Yeah, so here we go then. We have got a onboard lap of the Bahrain circuit. Go through turn number 1. You want to clip that apex here, and this is where Esteban Ocon crashed. He drove over that curb while the car was already unsettled and off into the barrier onto the left-hand side. Then you go up the hill towards turn number 4. Stay well within track limits here. We haven't had many track limit deletions apart from the couple that we had in Q1. No track limits deletion in Q2. You go through turn number 5 and 6. Hit those apexes. Very important to your lap time. And down the hill towards turn number 8, and this apex, you just it's a fairly standard hairpin really. You want to get onto the power very smoothly because you don't have much downforce at these slow speeds. Through turn number 9 and 10, you're braking and steering at the same time, locking up very easy, but as the drivers get into this qualifying mode, all of the mistakes just tend to disappear, and we haven't seen a single lock-up into turn number 9 in this qualifying session so far. Up the hill you go towards turn number 12, and your foot is pinned to the floor really at this point. You've got a load of G-force going through you, and the tyres are really overheating at this point of the lap, and you get the rear squirming out a little bit here and there, but you've just got one corner left to go, one braking zone, one turn in, and one exit. That's all you've got. You hit those brakes at the 70-meter mark, you hit that apex all over the curbs on the exit, and stay within track limits because Verstappen and Tsunoda have both got lap times deleted here. And across the line you go for a lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix circuit. Alright, so that is a lap of the circuit. Then you do some donuts after you get pole position, of course. I don't think we'll be seeing a Red Bull doing the donuts. I think we'll probably be seeing a McLaren. If not, the McLarens will be seeing an Alpine. I think the Alpines are definitely going to get pole position here. Okay. Why the yellow flag? I mean, the yellow flag just happens randomly. Okay, I can tell you when Q3 is going to start. Q3 is starting in 4 minutes' time. Let me put that up on the screen as well. Okay. Yeah, it's very nice of race control to tell us when the sessions are starting, because yeah, normally they don't do that. Normally, well, there's a fixed schedule that the sessions go by, but then when there's a delay in the session, they don't normally tell us when the session's actually starting. So it's nice of them to let us know. Gasly deserves better than that tractor. Yeah, I mean, Gasly is doing, and maybe, I think that lap that he's just done might have just been one of those Verstappen-style laps that we saw in Suzuka where absolutely everything was picture perfect and he managed to hook it up into third place. Just hopefully he can do that again. But one of the, those laps are very hard to come by, and we'll see what Gasly can do. I'm not here to make friends, indeed. Yeah, Liam Lawson's not here to make friends. He's here to get knocked out of Q1, unfortunately. Verstappen's on a flying lap. He's trying to get a toe off one of the McLarens while going down the straights, but still it's not enough. And the pace is just not there. It looks like he's doing everything right, and he's putting the car in the right place, he's braking at the right time and everything, but the pace is not where it needs to be. Which team is Max going to join next? I don't know. Whichever team is top. Surely, it's your best interest. We know for a fact Max Verstappen can win every single race if he has the fastest car on the grid. We know it's most likely not going to happen if you put another driver like, say, Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri. You're not going to win every single race with such utter confidence every single time. However, you can guarantee that with Max in the car, if you've got the fastest car on the grid, Verstappen will win the race for you. And so I think any team that is the quickest in 2026 will immediately be on the phone. And if the competition is close, so let's say in 2026, there's a team that is, that wins the championship, but it's by the finest of margins. And then going into 2027, they're going to be like, right, well, we want to win the championship again. We're going to do our best to make the car quicker, but it will also help if we had a super quick driver. And then they get on the phone to Max, and Max is going to be like, yeah, sure, I'll obviously drive for you guys, as long as I win the championship and I'm number one driver. So yeah, Verstappen's just going to whichever team is the quickest team, really. Okie dokes. When does this contract end after 2027? I mean, maybe, but the contracts, as many people have pointed out before, contract is a piece of paper, and when you have millions at your disposal, F1 teams aren't really going to care. Yeah. How does Ferrari look in terms of pace? Ferrari looks pretty good. They're still lacking a little bit compared to the Mercedes, but their upgrades seem to have worked, and they are much closer than they previously were. So I think Ferrari making a step in the right direction. And if Leclerc can put together a good lap, he should in fact be on par with Russell. If you look at their theoretical best lap times, Charles Leclerc's theoretical best lap times is within 2 milliseconds of George Russell's theoretical best lap time. So yeah, nothing really to be scoffed at, and the Ferraris are pretty much identical with the Mercs. Okay, so here we go then. We are starting Q3 in 44 seconds. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll be underway for the race tomorrow as well. I'll be commentating the whole race, start to finish. I'll have a half an hour build up before as well, and I'll be commentating all of the races till the end of the season and all of the qualifying sessions as well. So if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're making our way towards 141k. Yuki Tsunoda makes his way out of the garage, lining up at the end of the pit lane. We've got 20 seconds left to go on the clock. He's going to be the first out of the pits with a nice fresh set of cold soft tyres. Okay. Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope you guys are enjoying. Okie dokes. Also, if you guys do want to watch over on Twitch, what am I saying? The Twitch is F1_gamer_5. The same is for my Instagram. So, if you guys want to follow my Instagram, follow me on Twitch, and prefer to watch on Twitch, then feel free to do so. Okay, here we go then. We have got the Q3 is underway. Let me get rid of this timer up on the screen, and yeah, Antonelli, Verstappen, Sainz, Tsunoda, all making their way out onto the circuit. Brilliant job indeed. Okie dokes. We had 27,000 people watching at the end of Q2. Well, let's see if we can make that 30. If we make it 30, that's the highest ever qualifying viewer record that we've had. The highest number of people watching for a quali session. So yeah, let's see if that can happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We've got the top 10 shootout, the McLarens versus the Ferraris versus the Red Bull versus the Mercedes. And then we've got their two lone warriors from their teams, Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz. I'll watch in the platform in which you earn more money. Which is it? I don't get any ad revenue from Twitch, so probably YouTube, but also I block all of the adverts on YouTube because, well, I don't want you guys to be getting adverts. You know, imagine I'm commentating, someone's about to get pole position, and then you get an advert about some like car insurance or something. Like, yeah, it's just a bit stupid. So I've blocked all of the adverts on YouTube. And I think Twitch still shows you adverts, so it'd probably be better to watch on YouTube actually. Yeah. All right. Okie dokes. So here we go then. But if you guys do want to help out the channel and, you know, also want to get something in return rather than sort of just donating, F1 TV, I get a little bit of a commission off that if you use the link in the description to get all the coverage. But that is the end of, you know, yapping about random stuff. Well, let's yap about about Q3 here. So here we go. We've got some flying laps coming through. Verstappen and Tsunoda both on flying laps here. And it's looking good so far. We've got Verstappen 319 Ks down the straight and Tsunoda 314 Ks. So yeah, Verstappen getting a nice little toe off someone maybe. I'm not sure who he got a toe off or how he was quicker down the straights, but maybe he's just running a little bit less downforce than Tsunoda is. But 319 Ks nonetheless for Max Verstappen through the speed trap. Let's see what Antonelli and Russell are doing. Antonelli 316. Russell is going to just come through the speed trap shortly. Sainz is 313, a little bit down there, but versus Tsunoda purple in the first sector. In fact, he is quicker than Verstappen in the first sector by 0.4 of a second. Verstappen has made a mistake again, and he's 0.4 down in the first sector compared to his teammate. Surely he's going to back out of his lap at that point. He's out on a used set of tyres. Let's just keep an eye out on this. Gasly's out on a used set. So is Sainz. So is Verstappen. So is Tsunoda. And so are Leclerc and Hamilton. Piastri and Norris are out on a used set, but they're only 1 lap old, so I wouldn't really count that as used. Nonetheless, Tsunoda purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. Only Russell can break away and go. Russell, oh my god, 0.4 of a second quicker in the first sector is George Russell. Across the line he goes, and it's a 1:31.6, and that is slower than his theoretical best lap time. And yeah, not ideal there for Yuki Tsunoda. Verstappen goes across the line, and it is 0.4 back from his teammate. And yeah, still a lot of improvement left to go. We'll wait and see what they can do. All right. Yeah, Verstappen had to back off, I think, ever so slightly to stay within track limits in the first sector, and that's why that's why his lap wasn't all that quick. All right, Russell purple in the middle sector as well. Russell is really hooking these sectors up, isn't he? You know, Mr. Saturday himself. He goes pretty well around Bahrain. In fact, his drive around the Sakhir circuit is the thing that secured his drive in 2022. We've got George Russell with the T-pose emote currently in the chat right now. Across the line comes George Russell. What is it going to be? He goes quicker than his teammate by 1.1 seconds. Wow, George Russell, what a lap. His theoretical best is quicker than what the McLarens did in Q2. What a lap. And they've come over the... Verstappen's come over the radio saying, my brakes are just terrible. The brakes are terrible, according to Max. Don't know what's going on there, but yeah, some sort of issue with his brakes, and we'll see what he can do. Norris purple in the first sector. Piastri goes a 10th slower than Norris, but in the middle sector Piastri goes purple, and it looks like he's going to even shatter George Russell's times. Let's just wait and see what the McLarens can do here. Norris slightly quicker down the straights, 317 Ks, and Piastri now just making his way towards the final corner. As long as he stays within track limit, this lap is going to be a mega lap. Tsunoda, he's going to get a little bit of a toe off Tsunoda as well. Across the line comes Oscar Piastri, and he goes a 10th clear of George Russell. Not the biggest of margins that I would have expected, really. And Norris, 3rd place for him. Oh my goodness me. We have got Piastri is... Piastri's a 10.5 clear of his teammate, and George Russell has slotted himself into the middle. Great lap there from George Russell. And... yeah, I must say, simply sensational. He was on for a shot of potentially 3rd place or 2nd place at in Suzuka as well, and he messed up his tyre warm-up on this final Q3 lap. So let's wait and see what George Russell can do. But this has been a mega lap. Right, just looking at the replay here for Max Verstappen, going into turn number 4, he got a huge snap of oversteer, lost about 0.4 of a second. So that's what it is. The gap from Verstappen to his teammate is 0.4 of a second, but that does not explain the huge loss of lap time elsewhere, and the fact that the Red Bulls are 1.4 seconds slower than Piastri. And I don't know how Russell has done this as well. The Mercedes doesn't seem all that quick. Antonelli lost a bit of time locking up going to turn number 1. So, there have been mistakes here and there, but George Russell, wow. Max is nearly 2 seconds off. What? Okay, the McLarens, I mean, there's still hope, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 5 minutes left of the session. Let's see if Verstappen can hook together a mega lap like he did in Suzuka. And, let's see if George Russell can do that as well. Leclerc and Hamilton right next to each other. We've seen this happen for so many times now. Leclerc always half a tenth ahead of his teammate. By the finest of margins, he gets ahead. And looking good so far, looking good. All right. But I would like to keep this, would like to let you guys know that George Russell was out on a fresh set of tyres when he did his lap, and Piastri and Norris were out on a used set of tyres. That gap is 1/10 of a second, but Piastri and Norris, they're on a used set of tyres, and Russell was on a fresh set. So I have no idea what's going to happen when McLaren now bolt on a fresh set of tyres, because theoretically they're going to be going mind-blowingly quick. All right, Antonelli lap time deleted. Hamilton lap time deleted for exceeding track limits. Hamilton got a lap time exceeded track limits at turn number 13. Antonelli exceeded track limits at turn number 11. Unfortunate there for those two drivers. They've only got one shot left now to, put in a qualifying lap and stay within track limits as well. All right, if we have a look at the track dominance here between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, it's all kind of split. In some corners, Piastri is quicker. In some corners, Norris is quicker. There's no clear pattern that, say Norris is quicker down the straight, so Piastri is quicker through the corners. Nothing like that. Some corners, one driver is quicker. Some corners, the other driver is quicker. All right, here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes remain of this qualifying session. We have got Tsunoda making his way out onto the circuit as the first driver. Then we've got Antonelli. Then we've got George Russell. And slowly but surely, everyone will be making their way out for the final run of Q3. Who is it going to be? Who do you think is going to get pole position? If you haven't hit the like button already, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. If you haven't subscribed as well, we've just hit 141k. But, maybe by the end of tomorrow, by the end of the race tomorrow, we might even be on 143k. Why not? 2,000 subscribers gained over a race stream. We've seen that happen before. Could happen again. So why not? Let's knock that target up to 143k. That would be brilliant. Okay. One lap old tyres aren't really that old, but still nonetheless they were old tyres. Russell was on a fresh set, so that's why I'm making that comparison, because it still is a bit of a valid comparison. We shall wait and see. Everyone's coming out on fresh sets now. Nobody's going to be coming out on their final lap on a used set of tyres. Maybe Pierre Gasly goes and sticks it on pole position. We have no idea what's going to happen. But yeah, the replay here from Lewis Hamilton, he just went a little wide, tried to carry too much speed through turn number 30 and got on the power ever so slightly too early, exceeded track limits. It is what it is. He's got another shot at it, at least. Okay, and also, ladies and gents, as soon as qualifying ends and someone gets pole position, do not leave the stream, because someone could get a lap time deleted. After the laps came through, there was around about 30 seconds, 40 seconds before we found out if anyone got their lap time deleted. So just hang in there, and once all the laps are finished, and we'll find out if there have been any lap times deleted. Okay, so Tsunoda's first up, making his way down Sector 1. And look at that, green in every single part. 315 through the speed trap, and he's green in every single mini sector in Sector 1. Looking good there from Yuki Tsunoda, 29.0 in the first sector. All right, so here we go then. Antonelli's on a flying lap, so is George Russell, so is Hamilton, Leclerc. The drivers right at the back of the pack are Piastri and Norris by the looks of it, and Sainz actually. Sainz is the last driver who's going to be coming across the line. Yeah. It's one of the best F1 sessions. So much randomness. Indeed, there has been a lot of randomness. We'll see. You know, maybe we'll get a purple sector from Gasly. We're still yet to find out. In fact, we're getting a couple of purple mini sectors from Gasly here. This is really interesting. Russell goes purple in the first sector. Incredible first sector for here from George Russell. Still improving from his previous attempt. Tsunoda now coming across the line. Piastri starts his flying lap. Norris goes second to last, and Sainz will be the last driver to come across the line. All right, let's wait and see what Tsunoda can do. Fourth place for Yuki Tsunoda. Good. Honestly, he has risen to the challenge of driving at Red Bull very, very well. A lot better than what Lawson was doing. Russell, purple in the middle sector. Oh my goodness me. Okay. We've got Piastri and Norris still yet to do their first sectors. Let's wait and see what they do through the first sector. Piastri crosses that first sector line. What's it going to be for Oscar Piastri? Antonelli goes up into first place. Oh my goodness me. 20 milliseconds ahead of Oscar Piastri. Great lap from Antonelli. But George Russell across the line, 2/10 clear of his teammate. Mr. Saturday himself is on provisional pole position. Lewis Hamilton, after getting a lap time deleted, it's 5th place for him. And Charles Leclerc, what can he do? Across the line comes the Monegasque driver. 2nd place for him. Gasly's purple in the middle sector. Oh my god, is Gasly about to get pole position? Here he comes. Across the line comes Pierre Gasly. It's 4th place for him, unfortunately. We've got the final couple of drivers coming through. Max Verstappen currently in 10th position. It has not been a good weekend for Red Bull. He's currently 2 seconds back from George Russell's provisional pole time. Here he comes. Across the line, Max Verstappen. What's it going to be? Only 7th place. He's 4/10 back. Just Piastri and Norris left. Piastri goes purple in the middle sector, but will it be enough? There's a 2/10 gap that he's got to close up to George Russell. Can he do it? Across the line comes Piastri. It's provisional pole unless his teammate can stop it. Let's wait and see what Norris does. Across the line, it's 6th place for Norris. He doesn't even go up any places. The last driver across the line is Carlos Sainz, but what a lap by Oscar Piastri. This is his 2nd pole position with McLaren. 2nd pole position in Formula 1, and what a drive from him. But George Russell in 2nd place. Ferrari's upgrade have turned out to work. They're up in 3rd. Antonelli in 4th. Pierre Gasly is in 5th position ahead of 2 championship contenders of Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Sainz is in 8th in the Williams ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who replaced him at Ferrari, and Tsunoda down in 10th position. I will just check if there have been any lap times deleted, ladies and gentlemen, but what a qualifying session this has been. We haven't got any messages from race control just yet. Wow. An amazing lap there from Gasly, an amazing lap from Russell, amazing lap from Leclerc. Everyone's put in sensational laps, apart from Norris and Verstappen, who were the drivers in 1st and 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship. Wow. Okay, that is it. We've hit 31k people watching the stream. That's the highest we've ever had on the channel for the qualifying stream. That's the end of qualifying, folks. Don't think anyone's got a lap time deleted. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm going to be commentating for the race tomorrow. It is going to be a mega race. There's going to be so much action, 3 DRS zones, so much competition. Look at this, the top 6 drivers within 4/10 of a second of each other. It's going to be absolutely mega. So I will see you for the race tomorrow. I'm going to end the stream. If you could hit the like button on tomorrow's stream, it really helps out the YouTube algorithm. It's 4-5 times more powerful if you hit the like button and the notify me button or the reminder button before the stream starts. So if you could do that, that'd very much be appreciated. But I will see you guys in around 22 hours time or 23 hours time for the race tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely mega.